Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into name, image, and likeness NIL. Big topic.
Huge, especially since that NCAA policy change back in June 2021. It really flipped the script for student athletes.
Right, suddenly they could actually profit from their own brand. But that immediately brought up a massive question, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It was like, okay, great. Now what? How do you actually build that brand? How do you manage it effectively in this totally new environment?
Yeah, lots of uncertainty. I remember reading about Ted White at UVA, grappling with how best to support their athletes through this exact thing.
Exactly. There was a real need for practical guidance.
So that's what we're aiming for today, a deep dive into the, let's say, essential steps any student athlete, really, anyone looking to build a personal brand can take to kind of control their own destiny in this NIL world.
Taking ownership, that's key, and creating real opportunities.
And we're not just talking pocket money here, are we? The potential value is pretty staggering.
Not at all. I mean, think about this. Even before NIL was official, analysts were looking at someone like Paige Buchers.
Hmm.
With her social media following back then, estimates were she could potentially have earned like upwards of $670,000 a year just from endorsements.
Wow, okay. So that really highlights the potential when
Yeah.
you connect a brand with an audience effectively.
Definitely. It shows the scale we're talking about.
So, okay, let's break it down. Where does someone even start? It must feel overwhelming.
It can, yeah. And the first step, maybe surprisingly, isn't jumping straight into like logo design or picking colors.
Okay.
No, it starts much deeper. It's about really identifying your personal vision, your goals, what you want long term.
So more foundational stuff first. Less about the shiny exterior, more about the core direction.
Exactly. Your brand needs to be an authentic reflection. Who are you right now? Who do you want to become? Where do you see yourself going? For student athletes, that means really thinking about how their sport fits into their bigger life picture. And crucially, what resources do they actually have available right now? Time, support, maybe some existing skills.
Okay. Vision, goals,
Mm.
resources, that's the bedrock. Makes sense. Once you've got that clarity, what's the next move? How do you start shaping the brand itself?
That brings us to step two, designing your brand. This is where you start defining what you want to stand for.
Okay.
What are your core values? What message do you want to put out there? And really important, what value are you bringing to your audience? Who are you trying to reach?
And for a student athlete, that audience isn't just one group, is it? It's probably pretty diverse.
It really is. You've got college coaches, maybe recruiters, you've got the fans, obviously. Then there are pro coaches, scouts looking ahead.
Teammates too, I guess.
Yeah, peers, definitely. Future employers down the road. And of course, potential sponsors, the people who might actually fund those NIL deals.
Wow.
It's multifaceted.
Okay, so you know who you are, where you're going, who you're talking to, and what you stand for. How do you actually build it? Do you hire someone or try to DIY it?
Well, there are basically two main paths you can take here. One option is, yeah, hire a branding firm.
Right, the professionals.
They come in, develop the strategy, maybe create the look and feel, maybe even manage your social media. It seems easier, less hands-on for the athlete, perhaps.
Just but. I sense a but coming.
Mm.
Are there downsides to just handing it over?
There definitely can be. I mean, think about it. Who's going to be more motivated and understand your brand better than you?
Good point.
Even CEOs, right? They want to be involved in their company's brand story. There's this valid concern that something outsourced might just not quite fit. It might not feel authentic to who the athlete is or who they want to be.
Yeah, it could feel a bit generic or disconnected.
Exactly. And besides that, there's a massive long-term benefit to learning these skills yourself. It's empowering.
Which leads us to the second path.
Which is taking that hands-on approach, learning how to design it, activate it, eventually monetize it yourself.
So becoming brand literate, in a way.
Precisely. Doing it this way means you develop the knowledge to actually lead those conversations later on, maybe with agents or agencies. You can ask the right questions, protect yourself. You know, we saw early on with cases like Zion Williamson how important understanding these deals really is.
Right.
And that knowledge, it's an asset that grows with you because your brand isn't static. It evolves over your career.
Okay, so let's say you've done the internal work vision, goals,
Mhm.
and you've started designing the brand, maybe taking that hands-on approach. What's the absolutely crucial next step to make it real?
Activation.
Hmm.
Step three. This is the bridge, really. It connects the brand you want to have with the brand people actually see.
Making it tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about making sure your actions, everything you do on and off the court or field, lines up consistently with that brand you've designed.
And nowadays, you can't talk about activation without talking social media, right? Seems central.
Oh, absolutely fundamental. Social media is like always on. 24/7. It gives athletes this incredible platform for direct connection.
Yeah.
And get this, something like 83% of fans are actually scrolling through social media while they're watching sports on TV.
Wow, 83%. That's huge.
It is. So for athletes with NIL deals, having a strong, authentic social media presence, it's often not just nice to have, it's basically a requirement. It's where that direct relationship building happens.
So it's got to be more than just posting game highlights then.
Yeah.
What's the smart strategy there?
Yeah, highlights are great, they get attention, but the real magic is in authentic storytelling.
Okay.
That's what builds loyalty. Sharing the journey, the stuff behind the scenes, the daily grind, training, classes, recovery, that resonates.
People connect with the struggle, the effort.
Exactly. And being open about obstacles, setbacks, how you overcome them, that builds real connection. Plus, showing your life beyond sports, hobbies, interests, community work that broadens your appeal, you reach more people, potentially different kinds of partners. It's about showing the whole person.
That makes total sense. Connect with the person, not just the player stats.
Totally. There was this great example of a volleyball player, right? She apparently landed a really good sponsorship deal, largely because she consistently shared her pregame thoughts or postgame reflections.
Just being real about her experience.
Yeah. She built this community invested in her whole journey, not just her on-court performance.
Okay, so authentic storytelling is key. How do you keep that going? How do you maintain that presence consistently?
Right. Consistency is huge, content consistency, but it's quality over quantity. It's probably better to share really good stuff a couple of times a week than just, flooding feeds with mediocre posts every day.
Okay.
Strategies like content batching can really help. You set aside time, create a bunch of posts, schedule them out, save stress.
Smart. Like meal prepping for social media.
Kind of. And having content pillars helps too, like 3 or 4 main themes that define your brand. Maybe it's performance, academics, community, lifestyle. It gives you focus.
What about actually growing the audience? Getting more followers? That feels like a grind sometimes.
It can be. The key here is engagement reciprocity. It's a two-way street.
Reciprocity, meaning you give to get.
Exactly. The best way to grow is to genuinely engage with others. Try to respond to comments on your stuff, ideally within, say, 24 hours. Follow teammates, competitors, relevant accounts. Jump into conversations about your sport, especially during big events. Ask questions in your posts. Run polls.
Get people talking back.
Yes. And research suggests that influencers who respond to even 30% of their comments see way higher engagement on their next posts. It shows you're actually there, listening.
That's a practical takeaway. Respond to people.
Definitely. And don't sleep on your visual identity. In a crowded feed, looking consistent helps you stand out.
Like having a recognizable style.
Yeah. Maybe a specific color palette, similar photo filters, consistent templates for certain types of posts. Even something simple, like a unique border on your images, can make people instantly recognize it's you.
Treating it like a real visual brand.
Exactly. And you also need to think about platform specialization. Different platforms are good for different things, right?
True. TikTok is an X.
Right. Instagram might be your visual hub. TikTok's great for personality, short videos, trends. X, formerly Twitter, is more for real-time chat, joining conversations. LinkedIn for professional stuff. YouTube for deeper dives, longer videos. You tailor the content.
Meet the audience where they are, speak their language. Makes sense.
Totally. And think about collaboration, too. Partnering up with teammates, maybe athletes in other sports, local businesses, campus groups.
Cross-promotion.
Yeah. It expands your reach. There was this women's soccer team. They did a weekly Day in the Life series featuring different players each time. Huge growth because they tapped into each player's individual network.
A smart way to leverage existing audiences.
Definitely. Then there's analytics-driven optimization. You absolutely have to look at the data.
The numbers part.
Yeah, but it's important. Which posts get the most likes or comments? When's the best time to post? Are your followers growing? Which hashtags actually work? So many athletes skip this, but it tells you what's working.
Okay. So check the dashboard.
Even just a quick look each week, adjust based on the data. It makes a real difference.
Got it. What else?
Think about micro moments. It's not just the big games.
What's a micro moment?
Like seasonal changes, hitting an academic milestone, volunteering, behind-the-scenes travel stuff, team bonding. Those little relatable moments connect you on a more personal level.
Nice. And what about athletes using their platform for causes? We see that more and more.
Yeah, social advocacy. When it's authentic, it can be really powerful for your brand. Supporting causes you genuinely care about, highlighting community work, sharing info, amplifying others. It deepens the connection beyond just sports.
Builds that who you are piece.
Exactly. And it can attract partners who share those values too.
Makes sense. One more thing on activation for younger athletes, maybe still in high school or just starting college. Parents must play a big role.
Oh, absolutely crucial. That parent partnership is key. Parents can help with consistency, content creation, figuring out what's appropriate, maybe even the business side or tech stuff. Invaluable support.
So, wow, activating your brand, especially on social media, it's a lot. It takes real effort.
It definitely does. It's an investment of time and energy, but the potential payoff, that connection, is significant.
Which brings us, naturally, to the big one. Step 4, monetization.
Right. The part everyone's often most interested in, how do you actually make money from this brand you've built?
Okay, let's hear it. How does the cash register start ringing?
Well, the absolute crucial thing to grasp here is that monetization should really come after the brand building and activation. You need that foundation first.
Don't put the cart before the horse.
Exactly. There's a great quote from Thomas Rogers, a former basketball player. He said something like, "By not focusing on monetization, you put yourself in the best position to maximize monetization."
Interesting. So focus on the brand, the value, the audience first.
Yes. If you rush into trying to make money before you have a strong, authentic brand and an engaged following, you'll probably miss out on bigger, better, more aligned opportunities later. Establish the value first.
So the brand itself is the real asset.
Precisely. It's not just a product, it's the perception, the trust people have in you. Once that's solid, then various pathways open up.
Like what kind of pathways?
Well, direct brand partnerships are common, promoting products, being an ambassador. There's affiliate marketing, sharing discount codes, earning commission,
Okay.
creating your own digital products, maybe training plans, ebooks, even merch, getting paid for appearances or speaking gigs, collaborating with local businesses, sponsored posts for a local restaurant, that kind of thing.
We're definitely seeing some creative examples of athletes turning into entrepreneurs now with NIL.
Oh, for sure. Really cool stuff like Trey Stewart at BYU basketball. He started his own apparel brand, Default Happiness.
I've heard of that.
Or Emily Cole, Duke Track and Field. She published a cookbook, The Player's Plate.
Wow, a cookbook.
Yeah. And Hendon Hooker, when he was quarterback at Tennessee, he put out a children's book, The ABCs of Scripture for Athletes.
Those are amazing examples. Really taking ownership and building something unique.
Totally. Real entrepreneurial spirit, leveraging their platform.
Okay, so the opportunities are there, but with money involved, there must be legal stuff to watch out for.
Yeah.
Protecting yourself and the brand.
Absolutely critical. Once you start doing deals, you really need to think like a small business owner.
Right.
Setting up a formal business entity like an LLC, a limited liability company, is often a smart move. It can protect your personal assets if something goes wrong and potentially offer tax advantages.
But that probably varies by state, right?
Exactly. You need to check local rules. Like in some places, maybe everyone involved in the LLC has to be 18 or older. So you need to know the specifics where you are.
Okay, so get the structure right. What are the actual deals, the contracts?
Super important. When brands come with agreements, you have to understand what you're signing. These deals let them use your name, image, likeness for promotion in return for money or maybe free products.
Standard enough?
But the details matter. You need to scrutinize the terms, make sure everything's clear, fair. What exactly are they paying? What exactly do you have to do?
What are the key things to look for in those contracts?
Okay, number one, compensation. How much? When? How? It can be tricky because there aren't always clear benchmarks for student athletes yet.
Right, it's still new territory.
Then, scope of services. What exactly are you promising? Social posts, appearances, how many? Be specific. Morals clauses are common now, basically. Standards of behavior they expect. Intellectual property, who owns the content created. Exclusivity, can you work with competing brands? Confidentiality. Approval rights, do you get to okay stuff before it goes public?
Lots to consider.
And FTC compliance, making sure everything follows the rules for endorsements. It's all crucial. And remember, those potential earnings we talked about. Based on social following alone, the stakes can be really high financially.
Definitely need to understand the fine print. You mentioned intellectual property. How do athletes protect their own stuff, like their name or logo?
Good question. It involves being proactive. Trademark and copyright are the main tools.
Okay, what's the difference?
A trademark protects things that identify your brand. Your name, logo, maybe a unique slogan or hashtag. Registering it gives you legal ownership. If someone misuses it, you can stop them. Think of big stars protecting their brand names.
Like Giannis Antetokounmpo's case.
Exactly, things like that. Copyright is more for your original creative work, photos, videos, writing. It protects against unauthorized copying. You get copyright automatically, but registering it gives you stronger legal ground if you need to sue.
So trademarks for brand identifiers, copyright for creative content. Got it. What about your online turf, like a website domain?
Oh yeah, domain name ownership, really important. Grab your name as a .com or whatever makes sense early on, even if you don't plan a website right away.
Why early?
To stop cyber squatters, people who register domains hoping to sell them back to you for a high price later.
That happens.
It does. Chris Bosch had a well-known case fighting for his domain name. Securing it early is cheap insurance against future headaches.
Good practical tip. Secure the domain. And you mentioned FTC compliance athletes acting as influencers need to know those rules, right?
Absolutely. The Federal Trade Commission has clear guidelines. Basically, be honest. Your opinions must be genuine. Any claims you make about a product must be truthful and something you can back up.
So you can't say a drink made you jump higher if it didn't.
Exactly. That could get both you and the brand in trouble. Transparency and honesty are non-negotiable. Protects your credibility, too.
Okay, this is all incredibly exciting, all these opportunities, but it also sounds intense, like a lot for young people to manage. Are there potential downsides or pitfalls they should watch out for?
Definitely. It's not all smooth sailing. The extra attention, the pressure to perform, because you have deals that can create a lot of stress.
I can imagine.
There's also potential for tricky team dynamics. If there are big differences in NIL earnings on a team, that can lead to jealousy, social comparison issues,
Yeah, they could get awkward.
and just the time commitment, managing the brand, creating content, doing appearances. It could potentially pull focus away from academics if you're not careful.
Balancing act.
And unfortunately, yes, there's a risk of what some call a predatory landscape. Unethical agents, bad advice, people looking to exploit athletes new to this.
That's worrying.
It is, and it's telling that I think around 40% of NCAA athletes said they want more resources, more education on how to navigate NIL safely.
Wow. That clearly shows a need for good support systems.
Absolutely. Having trusted advisors is critical. Good lawyers, ethical agents, financial advisors who genuinely have your back, and financial literacy. Knowing how to manage the money is vital.
So you don't end up broke later.
Right. There's also the risk of exploitation, maybe even by family or close connections sometimes, or getting tied into deals for products that aren't healthy or don't align with your values.
Points of interest.
Yeah. And on a broader level, we need to watch if NIL widens the gap between athletes who have resources for brand building and those who don't, maybe even starting in youth sports.
Ooh.
It's complex.
It really sounds like NIL is this amazing door opening, but it comes with a whole new set of responsibilities and potential challenges. You need to
Yeah.
walk through that door carefully.
Precisely. It demands a strategic approach, proactive, and maybe most importantly, authentic. You have to build and protect that brand thoughtfully in this new world.
This has been incredibly insightful, a real deep dive into the whole NIL picture. As we wrap up, what's the one key thought you want to leave our listeners with?
I'd say think about how these core ideas of building a personal brand apply to you. Whether you're an athlete or not, whatever your passion is, how can you consciously shape your own story? How can you proactively create opportunities for yourself? Build a brand that truly reflects who you are and where you want to go. The tools are out there. The potential is there. It really starts with taking that first strategic step to define and own your narrative.